Well, what's going on, zombies? Are we emotionally screwed up, sleep deprived yet? Like yours truly. The zombie Weaver John C. of Rosamond, California. Uh, it's 9:40 in the morning on a Tuesday morning, May 16th, 2023. This is not the diary of the griever named John Weaver report, but this is the political side of life. Okay, guys. Coming across articles on YouTube keeps showing me the disparity. Nice here days. We're going to have to get the thesaurus on that one there. I'm trying to figure out why Gen Zers are so damn ignorant at times of history. And they are. They're demonstrating it to me on a constant basis. There was one particular channel out there that really maligned senior citizens. Despite the fact we had differences of political opinions and what we think and feel what our country should be or the rest of the world should be. I mean, I know we have our own opinions and ideas of what the world should be and our own egotistical nature and our own thought patterns. We want the world to be as is, but the problem is, it isn't. It's one screwed up ball of wax that each generation has a chance to screw up or try to fix. If we can't fix it, we'll screw it up even worse for the next generation to have fun with it. Case in point, you're talking about the maggots out there who are bad mouthing this, bad mouthing that, but not to mention, oh, I believe this guy's going to solve everything. He's, and fill in the blank on this one, because I've heard it too many damn times as it is. But even the youth get to be suckered into shit like this. And ignorance isn't bliss. Ignorance is costly. Now, I know somewhere in the biblical texts, there should have been said somewhere that to increase knowledge is to increase sorrow, or something along the lines. Now, when you get more knowledgeable, the more weighty that things are, because you're starting to compare things in your own lifespan, in your own understanding of perspective and perception and context. And you finally realize that no matter how much struggle you do in this life, I know the question always remains, did you do enough? Was it enough? What could I have done more? I also know that the youth are thumping against their heads left and right trying to figure this out. Why is it our turn to fix everything? Why is it ours? And these kids don't even understand that portion of it. Because they fail to heed the advice of the elders. And they failed to understand history in itself. See, history is repetitive. It's a cycle. Shall we get into philosophical terms here? Look at the ball of wax we got right now that we're living on. This dirt ball called Earth for millions and billions of years. Long time. It has been changing, reforming, reformulating, scrubbing the atmospheres, producing plants, producing animals. From little tiny microscopic organized cells and creatures into what we have today. But even in the process, what the world was trying to do to itself and what the earth constantly does is recycle, renews, regenerates, reformats, reformulates. You getting the picture? Humans have a way of repeating that cycle. In whatever form or fashion, we do it to ourselves on a constant basis. Now, yes, we are the ultimate consumers at this point over here. But the problem is our own behaviors repeat the cycles left and right. It's either by genetic or by learned behavior or by both. Take your pick. Now, in my little sliver of life on this planet. 57 years old. Compared to billions and billions of years old. It's a hell of a way for an ant to understand the tree. It's hard to understand what's beyond the five senses and the mental sense that we have, because we're limited by a squishy brain encapsulated in a skull filled of bloody fluid. And this development, this evolution that we have, this creation, had been ongoing for a hell of a long while. And we are still ants next to the universe. Universe is older than us. It ain't wiser. It just is. It's seen, it's gone through, it's processed. And if you look at things in a recycling kind of mood or viewpoint, maybe you would understand that some knowledges and some wisdoms are trying to be passed down from generation to generation, but the interpretation is always screwed up, revised, until we don't understand what the original context or what the original text was in the first place. But we, as the youth, go back to the elders because we want more advice. And they're saying, you already got all the advice we got right now. You just never bothered to listen. No matter how many times we keep trying to teach it to you. You're going to have to learn the mistakes all by yourself. You say, hell, you don't want to listen to the elders at this point over here, what they're trying to say. Then don't listen to them. And the thing is, we know that everybody else has got their own damn opinions of what they see life as. And don't be surprised that in different cultures and different times, we've actually had autocratic societies, empires, always stomping down on our faces when it comes down for what we want to say and what we want to understand. We want to tell the elders, look, we're better than you are. We're more advanced than you are. We know better. It turns out they don't know any better because they make the same damn mistakes the elders do, and they just don't even bother to listen or pay attention to what's going on. Which brings me to the point concerning about a video that was posted out there when this one smart out kid was going after a maggot on a video that he came across. And this gentleman has its own opinions concerning about his own viewpoint of nature of the universe, how he thinks it should be run, how he wants it to be run, and he has no clue what the hell is going to be happening next. And he didn't even bother to pay attention, probably in school, of what the history classes were trying to teach. Because autocratic rules don't give freedom and liberty. They take them. The elite get powerful, and you guys get screwed over. That's how it works. Unless there's been a massive upheaval in a pyramid scheme, you're going to be constantly pushed down like crazy. If I keep telling the elders that they don't know any better, there are some elders out there who actually do know better, that are trying to fight like hard throughout their lifespan, throughout their lives, to make our lives a lot better. To make the future generations, make sure that they don't have the same problems that the older generations kept facing. The problem is the youth never listen. And they keep attacking the elderly. Now, I saw the video. And I saw some of the comments. I swear if my mother was still alive, or even my brother was still alive, it's not that you wouldn't have any words with the gentleman with the maggot hat or the maggot shirt on, or both. They'd also have a problem with the smart mouth kid. Now, granted, we are entitled to our own opinions, but to attack people and misaligning them because of the age difference. It's one thing if you're going after the person's political viewpoints. It's another thing when you go after the person's age. Because you're going to have to remember one thing. You're going to be that way one of these here days if you live long enough. And then you're going to have whatever the next generations happen to call themselves during that time, bad mouthing you because of your outdated thinking, outdated mindset, outdated period. I'll give you a case an example. If you guys were ever television aficionados, you must have heard about the Twilight Zone series created by Rod Serling back in, I think, the early 60s. There was an episode covered on this one here. An actor named Burgess Meredith who represented the outgoing class of the elders. And the newer class was telling this older class that you're being outmoded and you're going away. You are obsolete. And therefore, the younger generation had put this older generation on trial and judge, jury, and plan to execute him. He is going to be blowing up in this episode, Burgess Meredith. And anything and everything that was old was going to be blown up with him. All that knowledge, all that wisdom, gone. Because it was the youth that mattered more. And the chief prosecutor in this situation was going to be spending the night until the guy blew up. Well, the prosecutor panicked. Only at the last second he got out before the whole place blew up. And he was going to be blown up with him, theoretically. He goes back to his chamber and then he sees his aide-de-camp replacing him as a chief. And saying that the old chief is obsolete. And then you have the kids dressed in the same damn type of uniform. Same style of uniform. Now, if it was in color, to me it would have been brown shirts and black. But no, you just saw this grayish looking color. It was all black and white. But it was basically a uniform for the guys, and then the girls wore skirts. And they were growling at the guy like a pack of animals. Next thing you know, this guy's being dragged out, or actually dogpiled, because he is obsolete. It also puts it into perspective that nature does the same damn thing. Except the elders still have to earn their spot of respect and command it to the youngins. The youngins want to topple the elders, but there's a chain of command. There's a hierarchy. In the age bracket, I gotta default back to giving respect to my elders, even for the ones who are in their 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and 100s. I still give deference and respect to them. Concerning what they believe in for political, that's a different story altogether. Excuse me, that's a different story altogether. They can believe whatever they want regarding politics. They can say and mouth off all the damn conspiracy crap they've got. They have allowed themselves to be closed off and let someone else do their own thinking for them, instead of investigating and understanding the reasons why things are working and why other things aren't working. And what's the differences? What's the correlations of them? See, and high school where I came from, they tried to get you the information, but you still have to think on your feet. You still had to demonstrate that you still have ability to understand, to do critical thinking, because if you happen to go into the university level, they expect critical thinking level. Even at the community colleges, expect critical thinking. But apparently your generation doesn't think that way. It's a demonstration of your viewpoint. Now you may be in the right of understanding this guy to be a total loser. I can say that about the guy's opinion. I can also say that about your opinion too. But I know there's other people older than I am that have different opinions that I had a hell of a lot of respect and listened to because they lived a lot longer than I had. And I depended upon their experience on how to deal and how to cope in this life. Your generation is still fighting that like every other generation. And that's another thing that you have to learn in schools. You have to learn that each generation, each younger generation, fights the older generation. And the younger generation still thinks that they know better and they don't have the wisdom. They don't have the experience. The older generation has the wisdom and experience, but losing the youth, losing the enthusiasm, losing the energy, the mojo. That's the curse of time. If you've ever taken any philosophy classes, you'll come across that over and over again. I don't believe in the maggots. They think they want to make America great, put it back into a different time zone. The problem is there was no time zone that actually had America great. America was evolving and still is. Great is this ego trip that we all play. It's the greatest country on earth. Yeah, well, guess what happened to the Roman Empire? They said the same damn shit. And what happened to these assholes? How about the Byzantine Empire? How about the Union of the Soviet Socialist Republic? Comrade, you forgot about the Filipino. Or let alone Mao Zedong when he came out with his little red book and convinced everybody to read the damn thing because the Communist Party was in charge and still is. But now they theoretically have elections for a theoretical president. He doesn't believe in liberty, but he believes in a hell of a lot of capitalism. All for him and screw everybody. There's a lot of regimes out there. There's a lot of governments out there with different styles. And unfortunately, in our democratic society we have right now, in our representative democracy, and I suppose Aristotle is well way above you concerning about the art of politics. He's written a lot of good things in there, and it's taken me a few political science classes to really get the gist of this one. Yes, even in college, an old fart can learn about political science even worse than what he's already lived through. And I'm amazed. Despite the different forms of government we have out there, autocratic, monarchy, parliamentary, democratic, there's not one government system out there that is perfect. Every one of them's got their own mistakes and flaws. Including if you happen to follow an orange gas bag in his viewpoints of how things are supposed to be, in his own opinion. And everybody follows suits. And here's the other thing. The books out there that we try to encourage our youth to read is because we had drawn some kind of wisdom out of it, one way or another, to educate us to a level where we can see everything happening and we can say, holy shit, now what do we do? The doctrines that we are indoctrinated with were supposed to help us, guide us with our directions in our thinking and our actions. Sometimes they just don't work as much. Maybe because we haven't put enough work into them, or we've become overzealous, as we are seeing the red-shirted maggots doing. Or even how about the Proud Boys or the people who are cloned like them? You're not seeing it. You're not seeing it. And if you have been seeing it, then attacking elders just because they're old puts you down on their level. You have to rise above to figure this out. You have to. There's a lot more at stake than what we're seeing. You have to feel it in here and in here. The difference of my age versus your age. Seen the signs and laughed it off. Now we got overgrown of weeds all over the damn places. Crabgrass has sprung up all over the damn place. And so whatever kind of plants you're putting into the ground, you're going to have to do a constant weeding at this point. But everything will be choked off because the weeds will be there. Little too heavy for you? Good. You haven't learned enough, Grasshopper. Not nearly enough.